that I heard from coaches last year as well.
What about the Lions? I mean, you look at the Detroit Lions and I was shocked that they let Darius Slay get away from them. But I guess, Patricia is Belichick way in his approach. So I guess that wasn't going to work out. But you losing a corner in a division where teams like to throw the football and you're playing some high-quality quarterbacks. So cornerback is clearly a need. What other positions do you think with the Lions that they'll look at from that standpoint?
I think they need defensive line help as well. I mean, they don't get after the quarterback very well at all. Look, Stafford's put up numbers, but, I mean, can you name 3 wide receivers on that roster that are consistently making plays, or really 2? And I think that's another question. I think they've got to add weapons. The running game is okay. It's not great. But we've seen – the big thing to me is we've seen Stafford deal with some injuries historically and deal with being beat up throughout the season. I don't know that you go offensive line at 3 because I don't know that anybody's grading that high, but I think that's a factor for this football team as well. They've got a lot of holes. I know for a lot of people, Jeff Okudah is a pretty good answer here at defensive back position after letting Slay go. But I think this is where the draft can get very, very interesting. And I think that goes back to AK's point where you might see some safe picks. I think the safe pick is Jeff Okudah here. But do the Lions go outside of the safe zone and really look outside the box and try to go get some different type of different pick outside of the cornerback slot? Because I think the other piece of it is if you go get Okudah, do they have to admit to their fan base, maybe we could have kept Slay and just paid him as opposed to going younger at the same position?
Yeah, I think D-line is also an area, like you said, that's a point to me that I would say for them outside of the corner. But do you give up on a cornerback that you didn't like, and now you have a corner in Okudah who I think a lot of people think he's the top guy coming out, or do you go to defensive lineman like a Derek Brown or Javen Kinlaw? I don't know if some people may not think the D-line pool is as deep.
They better watch film on Derek Brown then, because that boy's a disruptor.
There's some really quality guys in that mix, and I'm interested in Detroit's pick because I think it'll be defense. I don't think it'll be offense, but I really think that's going to be one of the things that they have to improve as a team. Their offensive ranking wasn't as bad last year with Stafford, but I think defensively they didn't play very well, in my opinion.
This is a defense, and I'll get it right to you, AK. They had 28 sacks in 16 games. That's less than 2 sacks a game. Mm-hmm. That is awful in a league to where we see teams throw the football probably 60 to 65% of the time. That's not going to get it done.
No, I agree with you guys. And, I mean, I think Bob Quinn's just sitting there and just saying there's a few players that are there that they're looking at. Obviously, Derek Brown, Okudah, Kinlaw, who technically fits that Patriots style better on defense because you can play him at, like, the crash end spot, then also slide him in. The thing that gets me is this. I think 3 right there, I think you have a stalemate right now at 5 and 6 between the Chargers and the Dolphins.
Yep.
Both of them are saying, I dare you to move up. I dare you to move up. And they're just kind of holding out right there. I think the Chargers are going to be the team that jumps up there. And that way the Lions can move down to 6 at minimum and come away with a quality football player such as Okudah, Brown, or Kinlaw at one of those spots. And I agree with you guys. I mean, this team cannot sack the quarterback. And Trey Flowers is a really good – I mean, I'm not discounting anything that Trey does. Like, he's very reliable. But he is getting double-teamed on plays, and there is no one else on the line that's a threat. I mean, those guys have to go out and get somebody to do that because they signed Trufant. And everything in that scheme is going to be all matchup-based. And you got a guy like Justin Coleman out there, and they just traded for Harmon. So it seems like everything, they're kind of going back to that New England style of matchup base. But the thing is, wants to accumulate picks because he knows there are a lot of holes and he has to fill those. Because I look at that division, I see the Packers just running away with it again.
Is Isaiah Simmons a guy that could fit in that mix if they end up at 6, just kind of hanging out and saying, whoever falls to us, whether it's Kinlaw, Brown, Simmons, Okuda, and we're going to get a pretty good football player, and we've added some picks after trading?
I think that's the biggest thing. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to move down and try to accumulate picks and start getting quality football players because it's more than just one player that's going to come in and get those guys right away. I mean, like if you added Derek Brown or Okuda, let's say they get Okuda, well, who's going to rush the passer, right? Who's going to rush the passer?
Yeah, because Flowers and Kennard both last year had 7 sacks. Kennard's a linebacker.
Yeah, and Kennard, they cut Kennard after that. Like,
right.
They brought in Jamie Collins. Really, I think they're going to use Jamie more as a rusher than they are as an actual linebacker.
I don't know if I'd do that, but yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're in deep trouble because they got nobody else that can rush the passer. So if I'm them, I do whatever I can to move down. And I feel like it's going to be the Chargers at the end of the day that are kind of just laying low, just being quiet, and then kind of saying, man, like those are the guys that are in extreme love with Justin Herbert. And they've kind of just kept it on wraps because he's already a West Coast guy. They feel like he can come in, kind of fit into that system, and then take over.